And we all knew this year would be questionable coming in, but did we think it was going to be like this?
It wasn't a dream. It really happened.
We speak a lot about Prime and how he's able to overturn programs, how he's able to make a huge, giant impact, how he's able to turn nothing into something. We've seen him do that time and time again. Seen him do it at Jackson State. Seen him transform Colorado. But I want to get straight to it. When we talk about Shedeur Sanders and how he needed his dad to be successful, when you talk about Shedeur Sanders, you give Coach Prime, off the strength, a ton of credit. Give him his credit for raising up that boy, right? Give him his credit for getting his son to the NFL. That's an immaculate father. But at the end of the day, was it Prime, Deion Sanders, who truly needed his son, Shedeur? When you think about it, he coached him up at every level, from the Pop Warner days down up to middle school ball. Let's take this to high school, Pops. So Prime has been a part of his son's growth the entire time. But did he need Shedeur? Did he need a piece of himself to truly carry him through this whole coaching fiasco? Top 5, top 10 greatest to ever do it. You know what it is. Deion Jr. had his shot. Shiloh had his shot. But Shedeur was the golden child from day one. Prime knew what he was getting into when he had Shedeur. Prime knew Shedeur, he's going to be special. This kid, he got the it factor. This is Prime's son right here. Of course, they all Prime's son, but this right here is Prime's son. And he saw that from day one. Now, during that journey, they reached multiple plateaus, multiple ups and downs from Shedeur as well as Coach Prime. But through everything emerged a true quarterback, somebody who was going to stand in that pocket and pick the defense apart for as long as he could. We know his O-line wasn't really nothing around that time, but he still had to make magic. And through that journey, man, we started to see a personality emerge. We started to see a young Prime, a young Deion Sanders in his own way. Shedeur was coming into his own, just like his daddy, but he had his own little style. He had his own wave. He was doing numbers. You could not take that away from Shedeur Sanders, no matter who his dad was. A personality was there. There was the new up-and-coming version of Deion Sanders, the quarterback version. How could you not want this? So that drew a ton of controversy as well as a ton of love. It gave Colorado something they had never seen. These guys are like the dynamic duo of father and son when it comes to this coaching stuff. Let's call a spade a spade. They both were able to bring in big time numbers. Shedeur Sanders is a big reason why his dad is even successful in the college ranks. Let's be 100. Shedeur is a huge reason why Coach Prime is successful in that D1 level. A lot of people going to be frustrated at me for making that statement. But I got to call a spade a spade. They did it together. The yin, the yang, father, son. But I don't think we give Shedeur enough credit for the uprising of Deion Sanders at this college level. Of course, he had the name, but he needed that premier guy who was going to carry him through. And before everybody, there was Shedeur. Before Travis Hunter, there was Shedeur over there making noise at Jackson. Now, shout out to Travis Hunter. Once he got Travis Hunter, he became another father. Prime has always been that father-like figure. And there's been situations where that didn't always end in the best positive light. Shout out to Noel Devine. But in a situation with Travis Hunter and Prime taking on that father figure in this man's life, oh, it couldn't have panned out more perfect. So now you have two premier personalities, yin and yang within those two. Because we got to understand, Shedeur is a completely different breed than a Travis Hunter. Shedeur grew up under them lights. Shedeur know what a little bit of money feel like. Travis, small town boy, hometown hero. The fans love him. They love that humbleness until they eventually flip on you. And we know how that goes. Both of them doing their thing next level. But what you see at Colorado today, and minus the wins, cool. We see the whole persona that Prime is built over there at Colorado, and it just don't seem to be hitting the same. But why ain't it hitting the same? Why ain't it getting the same type of traction? Prime is still there. Did all the glitz and the glam wear off? No, it didn't wear off. The thing was, there was personalities on that team. There was personalities leading with Shedeur Sanders, leading the forefront. Bucky was able to build well-off empire, well-off media, not only off his pops. Shedeur was a key part of that. Televising Shedeur, the up-and-coming version of Prime. We gotta give Shedeur Sanders his credit for where Deion Sanders is currently at in Division I football, man. It was two of a kind. I'm coming to see Prime, and I'm coming to see his son in ball. I'm coming to see Travis Hunter in ball. Let's be real. And at this point, the team don't have no personality. Shout out to the O-lineman. What you gonna do? Follow O-lineman around all season? I mean, cool, but them positions still really mean something. I'm not saying that O-lineman can't be the most charismatic person up in the room. I'm just saying traditionally, if we're going based off history, past tense, and bringing that to the present, bringing that to the now, I know them quarterbacks, I know them receivers, I know them running backs, maybe even DBs. They're pushing them out to the forefront. Now, don't get me wrong. You get guys like Travis Kelce's brother, You might get an occasional O-lineman who made it to the big time. You might get that. You're going to get a D-lineman like a Warren Sapp who going to make a name for themselves. You're going to get that. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm just saying you need some of those guys, man. With Shedeur Sanders, then you had Travis Hunter. You had LaJohntay Wester making a name for herself. You had Will Shepard over there getting more publicity than ever before. He had a name for himself coming into the program. Not to mention Jimmy Horn Jr. over there, his spot was solidified the season before that. Not exactly his spot, but I mean his personality spot. People had bought into the Jimmy archetype. They was rooting for Jimmy. They knew his pops was in the pen. They knew Prime was pseudo Papa. People was rooting for Jimmy. That's what I'm saying. This team don't have that. They don't have nobody they can depend on. They don't have no star power, which is equating to the losses because Prime has figured out a way to make his brand a brand of winning. But is his brand a brand of winning without that jelly? Prime is a peanut butter, but Shedeur been the jelly this whole time. Taking him to the promised land at all of his coaching ventures was off the back of his son. That 1-2 duo, man. And now you question, is Prime ever going to be successful at that level, at the coaching level in general, without Shedeur Sanders? He's never known a team without his son. And right now with this record, this 1-2 record, it just seems like Colorado is getting back to the Colorado of old, losing games they supposed to be getting W's on. And a lot of people, we don't give Shedeur Sanders that credit. He gets a lot of flack. A lot of people are calling him a bust. I'm saying it's way too early. They tried to write Geno off. Look at Geno. Done etched out a nice little career for himself. But I remember it was a time where they were saying Geno about to be about that league. Beat you with his wisdom. Stayed in the cut. Listen to all that shit y'all was talking. Gained wisdom. Geno came back stronger than ever. Give Shedeur a chance. He's obviously been coached by his dad. And they've made history together. Tons of history. And now Prime is having the opportunity to prove himself, but it's just not going how one would want it to go. The Prime mania is somewhat died down. You always gonna have your guys in that core fan base and those people who grew up on Deion Sanders. You always gonna have them showing mad love to the Colorado faithful, mad love to that Colorado audience. You gonna have them, but it's not looking good. It's looking like Prime needs Shedeur. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about this, man. I ain't gonna talk your head off. Am I completely wrong? Tap in. It's the failed athlete. That don't mean you got to fail in life.